Okay, runners, what do you think about running doubles? Running doubles, running twice in a day? What are your thoughts? And also, do you ever do them? And also, do you like to do them? And in this video, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the benefits of running doubles, or I should say the potential benefits, but there's also some negatives that we might have to watch out for. Let's get into it. What's up guys, it's Matt B. As well as talking about doubles, this is also going to be the weekly running and training vlog, where the main purpose of this video is for you to tell me about your week of running. I want to hear about your successes, and I definitely want to hear about those setbacks, so go ahead and drop a comment and let me know how your week went. And I guess specifically if you ran any doubles this week. I know there's at least one of you. Eddie, I'm looking at you. I know that you have run at least a couple of doubles this week. It seems like Eddie runs doubles every single week. And Eddie's experience with running doubles, sorry Eddie, I don't mean to be talking about you to everyone else, but Eddie's experience with running doubles is actually one of the benefits that we're going to talk about. Oh, and I did come across an article in sportcoaching.co.nz, which is what I'm going to base this video on, and of course I will put a link in the show notes below in case you want to go and check out that article. So there are a couple things with doubles that I think are common sense, but I find that common sense is one of those things that we still have to talk about, because running through an injury, or at least running through pain and discomfort, you think would be a no-no, and that's common sense, and yet I find myself doing it all the time. So bear with me as I talk about some pretty simple practices when running doubles. And when you start, I think it's best to start gradually, right? That sort of makes sense. Like on your very first day, you don't want to go and do a long run in the morning followed by another long run in the afternoon. I mean, maybe you do. I'm sure there's people out there that do it, but not starting out. You want to start out gradually. Because running doubles is probably something different than most of us have done in our usual running lives. You're going to want to pay extra attention and listen to your body just a bit more. Well, maybe not just a bit more. We should be listening to our bodies all the time. But seriously, you're really going to want to listen to your body when you start running doubles, because you're putting so much more stress on your body. Or maybe not more stress, but you're putting stress at different times. When you start running doubles, you're going to want to alternate your intensity. And I think this kind of falls into regular running training. Like, we already know this, right? We don't run all our runs all out. Some runs are a little harder. Most of our runs are nice and easy. Same with doubles. Alternate that intensity and everything will be good, probably. Now, when you start running doubles, recovery is key. Even more key than when you're not running doubles. Recovery is where all the magic happens. That's where we see those gains. But it becomes even more important when you're running more, or at least more often. So just make sure that you are taking those rest days and you're prioritizing sleep. That's a biggie. A lot of you know that I don't always prioritize sleep. But if I ever got into running doubles on a regular basis, I should really make more of a focus on that. Obviously, we're going to have to fuel maybe a little bit more, right? If we're putting out more of an effort, we're going to have to fuel those efforts. So pay attention to your fueling when you start running doubles, or at least on the days that you run doubles. As always, warming up, cooling down, very important. Don't think we have to talk more about that. It isn't something that I really put a focus on as much as I should, but I know that I should. And it becomes even more important when you're running doubles just because you are running more. The article also points out to know when to rest. And guys, I 100% agree with this. It's important to know when to rest when you're running doubles, but also when you're just running. I know I just mentioned it, but the article still reminds us again, pay attention to your body. And if you're feeling overly fatigued, or if you feel just a little twinge or an injury coming on, it's important to take a rest day or two. Seriously, I'm saying this for my own benefit more than anybody watching this. Okay, let's talk about some of the benefits. The benefits are why we would start running doubles, right? Nobody starts running doubles because of the downsides. We all want to know what good is going to come of it. And for me, when I run doubles, I think the most important thing that I pay attention to, the reason that I go out and run doubles, is because I want to increase my mileage, right? Running doubles, I think, is a pretty simple and easy way to increase your weekly volume. Because let's be honest, running for a long time can be difficult, right? We start to get tired, bodies start to ache, our form starts to break down. But if you run just a little bit shorter, let's say in the morning, and then you go out in the afternoon for your second run, your double, you're going to have those hours of recovery in between. And then on your double, you can go out, take care of business. You're not as tired because you've had that chance to recover. And your overall volume for the day might be just a little higher. Even though you might have cut back in the morning a little bit because you knew you were going out in the afternoon, your overall daily volume is going to be higher. And that's how we can kind of seamlessly build our volume. Also, let's be honest, time is a tricky thing for all of us. We've all got other things we need to do in our life. And when you see these elite runners going out and running 120 miles a week, you wonder, how do they do it? How do they have the time to do it? Well, obviously they're professionals. They're actually getting paid to train. But there are a lot of non-professional runners that still put in high volume weeks like that. And without doing doubles, it would be virtually impossible. Not impossible at all, but it would be much more difficult. So it just helps these athletes to get the volume that they need to perform at the level that they need to without doing it all in one chunk. Now, the next benefit I really don't know what they mean, because the article points out that a benefit of running doubles is enhanced recovery. And that enhanced recovery comes because it says when you're separating your running sessions, your body has more time to recover between workouts. The article says that with this enhanced recovery, you can maintain the quality of your workouts and reduce the risk of overuse injuries. I'm not sure what they mean by that. It seems like there's something in there that I'm just not understanding. So if you're understanding what they're talking about, let me know in the comments. But it does appear that you would be getting less rest overall if you do doubles. But of course, if we look at it like we're doing a workout in the morning, so let's say we go out, we run some intervals, then in the afternoon we go out and we run an easy run, or not even an easy run, a recovery run. Maybe that recovery is going to help us recover more than just sitting on the sofa for the rest of the day. Maybe that's what they mean. This next benefit could be my favorite. Well, I've got a couple of favorites, but this is definitely one of them. And that is that running doubles can improve your running economy. This is fantastic. And your running economy is how efficiently your body uses oxygen. And if your body becomes more efficient at using oxygen, that means you can run faster paces at an easier effort. I would also add to that, or actually maybe I won't add to it, but it's probably because of it, that if you go out and your running economy improves, your running mechanics will also probably improve. And I'm guessing that just comes down to like the 10,000 hour rule. Like if you do something more, you're going to be better at it. And if you're going out and you're running more, you're probably going to be better at it. Your body's definitely going to be better at it simply because your running economy is improving. This is also one of my favorite benefits of running doubles, and that it improves mental toughness. And if I'm totally honest, this is probably the reason I don't run more doubles. It's hard to wake up early, go out for a run, start doing stuff around the house and whatnot, maybe go to work and then run in the afternoon. I like running in the morning. I don't like running in the afternoon. So the occasional time that I do get out and I'm able to run a double, it never feels good. Now, maybe it would feel good if I did it a little more often, or I went out for longer, but usually when I do a double, I'm going out for a very short distance in the afternoon, maybe 2 or 3 miles. Super short. And also, I do find myself running doubles simply so I can take photos of shoes in the daytime, because most of my runs happen at night. When I have to review shoes, I need to get some daylight photos, some daylight videos, and that's when I may go out and run in the afternoons. We've already mentioned it, but another benefit of running doubles is time management. We don't always have hours and hours in one block of a day. So let's say that you had a 2-hour run on the schedule, but you just don't have the time to squeeze it in the morning. Let's say you go out, run an hour and a half in the morning, and then run half an hour in the afternoon, or even 45 minutes in the afternoon. Then you get a little bit more training stimulus, but you haven't had to commit to that 2-hour block. The next benefit is adaptability to longer races. And this actually comes back to the reason why I don't do it very often, is because it's not easy, it's difficult. So when you go out for that double, when you go out for that second run in the day, it's going to mimic the fatigue that you're going to feel in a half marathon, in a marathon, in an ultra marathon. And it's going to teach you to understand that fatigue, to accept it and run through it. So definitely a benefit. Adaptability to longer races. The article mentions pushing personal limits as a benefit to running doubles, and yeah, I'd agree with that. There is a sense of satisfaction when I run a double, mainly because I don't like it. I want to get my run done in the morning, and then when I go out and I do something in the afternoon, I feel pretty good about it. Now, this next benefit is really good. Running doubles can actually improve fat burning. So running twice a day can actually improve your body's ability to burn fat for fuel. Now, this is especially important for longer runners, for endurance runners, because it helps preserve glycogen stores. And when you preserve glycogen stores, it can lead to better performance at longer races. All right, that was fun. Benefits were definitely fun. Now let's talk about some downsides. And the first downside is that there is a risk of overtraining, right? If you are training more, it's likely that you're getting closer to that line where you overtrain. And we all know overtraining is pretty miserable. It can result in excessive fatigue. It can actually decrease your performance, which is really bad if you're doing doubles to try and increase your performance. And it can increase your risk of injuries. I guess the main way to combat this is by making sure you're focusing on rest. Now, I know we just said that there is a risk of overtraining, and when you overtrain, it increases your risk of injuries, but obviously it's going to increase your risk of overuse injuries because you are using your body more, right? That's just logical. Now, I know I said that a benefit of running doubles was that you don't have to allocate one single block of time to your run, but there's also the other way. Now, we've all got other time commitments to our family, to our jobs, to everything else we have in life that isn't running. And it can be tricky to get away 2 times during a day, right? I totally get that. That is a downside. You've got to have a pretty understanding family if you tell them, hey, I'm going to go for a run for an hour in the morning, and then I'm going to go for another hour in the afternoon. The distance, the time is irrelevant. The point is that you are taking time away from your other life's responsibilities. Now, the downside of running doubles is mental fatigue. Remember, you're putting that extra pressure on your body, on your psyche, and when you're focused that much on one thing, in this case, it's running, it can can lead to mental fatigue. And when you have mental fatigue and physical fatigue, it's not good mix. So again, make sure you are finding time to balance the rest of your life with your training. Right, our life isn't about our training. I know it seems like it at times, but we all know that it's really not. Keep a good balance. Another downside of running doubles, at least in the beginning, I would say, is the additional hydration and nutrition needs. Like if you're running more, your body is going to need more hydration and it's going to need more fuel. That can be a tricky balance to find when you just start running doubles. Right, if you have started a marathon training block, maybe for the first time, or maybe you've run a couple of marathons, I've always found it very fascinating just how hungry I get at a certain stage of my training block. Like all of a sudden the hunger just hits you and you can eat for days. So watch out for that. If you're starting to run doubles, just be aware that you're putting out more of an effort, you're burning more energy, therefore you need to replace more energy. Another downside of running doubles is the potential for sleep disruptions. Now I know there's a lot of studies that have said that if you exercise, it will help you to sleep better. But there is a reason that I don't do evening races. I won't do evening 5Ks or 10Ks because I know that my sleep for the entire night is shot. For some reason, and I've done it enough times for me to realize that this is the reason. When I race, when I get my heart rate up to that max effort, I just can't sleep after, for hours after. So I avoid those like the plague. And look, I think there are several benefits, there are several downsides, but let me give you one more downside, and that is the potential for burnout increases. When you start doing more of the activity, even if it's an activity that you want to do, you do have that increased risk of burnout. And once again, I think most of this stuff can all be managed pretty well if we pay attention to our rest and our recovery. But it's important to be aware of the downsides and not just focus on the positives, because there are a lot of positives. And with that, I had a pretty good week of running. Started off on Monday with 10 miles. Now I did go over to Celery Fields, which is an area that I go to run on trails, and I knocked out 10 miles and I just went up and down the hill and ran around on the dirt for an hour or so. Well, actually it was probably more like an hour and a half, maybe a little over an hour and a half. But it was a nice run and easy effort. And on Tuesday was my first workout day of the week. It was a total of 10 miles where I warmed up for 2.5 miles. Then I did 6 1-kilometer repeats with 400 meters recovery in between. And then I cooled down for 2.5 miles after. It was a good workout. It was a soaker for sure. Wednesday was my day off, and then following Wednesday was Thursday, which was my second workout day of the week. Now I did 8.1 miles total. I started off with 2 miles easy, then I did 5 miles at lactate threshold before cooling down for 1.1 miles. Now you might notice a difference that I usually do a tempo run on Thursdays, but this week I found the run just a little harder. And maybe that was the temperature, maybe that was not being fully recovered, I don't know. But then I looked at where my lactate threshold heart rate was, and I was right at my lactate threshold. Hence the reason for this being a lactate threshold run. I think that line between tempo and lactate threshold runs, it's very thin, especially when I start to inject some heat, some humidity into the equation. And then when I start trying to reach certain paces rather than just run on effort, which I usually do, I start seeing that heart rate bump up a little higher, and I'm right there at my lactate threshold. Anyway, felt good, very good run. The next day, Friday, I went out, I ran 11 miles, very easy, just super cruisy. I didn't wake up to an alarm that day, so I got a good night's sleep, and all in all, that run felt pretty good. Saturday was my long run of the week. I knocked out 18.5 miles, but I did meet up with a couple other fellas, and I ran 14 miles with them. And one of the guys is training for a 100-mile ultra coming up in a couple months, so we were doing a 7-minute run, 1-minute walk ratio, and then when I was done with those 14 miles, they did 18 total. I also wanted to run 18, so I did another 4 miles, a little quicker pace just to finish off my run. So it really did work out very well. I did 14 at a fairly easy pace, and then I kind of did a fast finish. Sunday was another great run. I knocked out a total of 11.4 miles. I went down to downtown Sarasota where I met up with my local running group. They meet down there every Sunday, and we just ran out to Lido Beach Park and back, and it was a really good run. I did get there a little early just to log a couple of miles because I knew that I wanted my total to be between 11.3 and 11.4 just to make sure I got enough miles to the week, because my week's total ended up at 70.2 miles, which is about 113 kilometers. So all in all, a pretty good week. It was a pretty high volume week for me. I'm probably going to be up and down, kind of flirting with a 70-mile barrier over the next couple months, but I was pretty happy to have a good week of running and to feel good at the end of it. Okay, so now if you have made it all the way to the end of this video, well done to you. You are going to be the first ones to know that I am putting these weekly running and training vlogs on hold. This one that you're watching has been the 123rd. So for 123 weeks, I have been doing these weekly running and training vlogs, and I am just going to take a break from doing them just so I can test YouTube a little bit. I'm wondering if I pull back some of my content that isn't to do with running shoes, if perhaps I'll see a little more growth. But of course, I will occasionally do videos like this, and of course I will film my races that I do throughout the year. So if you have made it to the end of this video, why don't you drop the watch emoji, because time's up. Be kind, be happy, run well. I'll see you in a couple of days.